Welcome to the Chronic Health Collective, where we empower you to transform your life. We gathered the best coaches and experts to bring you insights that's going to elevate your physical, your mental, and your spiritual well-being. Whether you're looking to boost your energy, heal your relationships, or live a more productive, balanced life, we're here to guide you every step of the way. I'm Andy, and welcome to our second quarter panel discussion. I'm going to be joining with Vince Abramo and Don Omaoza. The theme of this episode is April showers, weathering the storms of health and growth. Just like April showers bring May flowers, life storms, whether emotional, physical, or mental, can lead to transformation and growth. This discussion we're going to have today is going to explore how we can navigate life's challenges and use them to fuel us for longevity, health, and success in every area of our life. Once again, I'm Andy Nam. I am a life coach specializing in functional nutrition and longevity. And Vince, you are?
Oh, I'm Vince Abramo. I'm an organizational peace specialist here in
And
Hawaii.
I'm Dawn Omaoza, corporate wellness advocate.
I love it. I love it. This is so organic. This is fun. This is fun. So we're going to jump right on in. And this is, like I said, our second quarter. So we're going to be punching in, our coaches here. And it's time for us to dig into each other's specialties. So the first question is I'm going to be asking Vince. And this is sort of, we have the theme about storms. So this is sort of like riding the storm, So storms in nature, they help cleanse and nourish the earth, right? But in our bodies, stress can either fuel growth or it can wreak havoc. So normally for my clients, I focus on reducing chronic inflammation and stress to promote longevity. But in your expertise, Vince, how can people build resilience and turn life in motion or mental storms into opportunities for personal growth?
Good question, Andy. So utilizing that's a really good question. I want everyone to actually be curious about their brain. So being a brain health trainer with Dr. Amen, a brain health coach with him, is what is working in your brain and what is not working in your brain. What are you overusing, whether it's your basal ganglia, your amygdala, whatever it is, learn about your brain so that you know that you can make it healthy, right? So a lot of people don't know that when over time, like you said, like when they're not eating healthy or when they have a really bad lifestyle, whether it's addiction, whether they're being surrounded by not so great people, that actually shrinks your brain. But
Wow.
yes, but what really helps is trying to learn about your brain and improving the blood flow and all of that, all of those factors of your physical health also is a great lead in into your mental health, into your brain health. And so it actually helps increase your brain. So you can always have a better brain. And that's what I want people to be more curious about their brain and how they can make it healthy.
I love that answer, because like so many people that, they always talk about exercise, they talk about eating. So you're nursing the muscles, but no one's ever talking about the brain. And the brain is a muscle too. You have to work the brain. And I love how you're saying you have to, we always talk about choose the 5 people you hang out with. Now I know by choosing the wrong group, I'm shrinking my brain. So I'm definitely going to think about who I'm, hanging out with. So thank you for that. I love that answer. So,
Me
Don,
too,
for you.
actually.
So Don's turn. So after the storm, you usually when, after rain, we want to transfer some of that pain into power, right? So after a heavy storm, nature always finds ways to heal and bloom again. You see the flowers are blooming, the grass is blooming. I got weeds blooming everywhere in my backyard. That's driving me crazy. But, I've seen people, they completely transform their health by changing their nutrition and their lifestyle. And obviously, they're going to have to learn more about their brain now, too. But in your work, how do people in the corporate world transform pain, trauma, or setbacks into growth and renewal?
The advice I would give to folks in the corporate wellness, in the corporate setting is life is always evolving as well as your job or your role in a position. And the way to navigate that really is to always be equipping yourself and learning, like Vince had says, that, be curious about how your brain works, how your mindset shifts. And it is the same, it goes to the same thing with your skill sets in, corporate environment. It's like, you never know, especially now, right? There's so much uncertainty with many people's jobs and their roles. Even folks in the government sector, they, they thought they were the most protected, but really private sector is probably a better place to be right now.
Correct, for sure. Yes.
But it's just equipping yourself, like always be curious about how you can elevate yourself, how you're showing up every day at work, how you're interacting, how you're being perceived by other people, how you want to be perceived by other people, and being proactive in how you want that culture to be in the day that you live every day, whether it's at work or it's your personal life. So, personal development, professional development never ends. It has to be an ongoing process. And curiosity is the key. Always be curious, and then also be excited about what you're doing. If you're not excited, you're just banging your head against the wall, and and you just end up with more resistance. So yeah, equip yourself, have excitement, and just continue to be curious about life and all these things that we haven't even like been exposed to, and what may come, instead of looking at the negatives of what's around us. Be present, but know that there is hope in the future.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I wish we had time to tell our audience why you got the scratchy, sexy voice.
Oh no.
But curiosity is so important, especially nowadays. I think so many people think when they go to college, they do the learning and that's it. I done my 4 years, my 8 years, or whatever it be, and you come out and you think that you know everything, right? But like you said, the world's constantly changing with AI and everything going on now. It's like, if you're not curious to learn the next big thing, you're going to be a dinosaur, right? Especially like you said, in the business world. So curiosity is definitely one of the big things. Always be learning. And for me, I'm always the one that's the dumbest in the room. So I'm always learning from you, ladies. So thank you so much for that answer. Back to you, Vince. We're doing the ping pong back and forth here. Just keep the energy going. So,
Okay.
I like to call the next one the calm before the growth. So we're going to be harnessing energy for healing and longevity. So after every rainstorm, and we get so many of these storms in Houston, the air feels so much fresher. You go outside, things smell fresh, right? Like, the air just feels clean. And like I said, everything just springs back to life. Like everything's hiding. Like, we have cats in the back and they're hiding in the rainstorm. But as soon as everything clears out, everything's just so beautiful. So just like how the rain nourishes the soil, I teach people how to nourish their bodies, with the right nutrition for long-term health. But when it comes to energy, it isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, and it's even spiritual. So how do you help people recharge and realign their energy after they suffer emotional or mental storms?
That's another good question, Andy. Okay, I'm going to use an example because I just work with an organization, and it was they had a toxic person, and they we had to go through some training about conflict resolution and how to approach meetings. Their meetings were over an hour. I'm like, no meeting should ever be an hour, right? Right? Right, Andy?
I agree. Unless I'm learning something and it's fun and it piques my curiosity.
But the whole thing was when they felt like they were empowered and that they were able to have their voice, even if it was scripted, some of the things they had to say in the meeting, they all had to be on that same page. And that storm that had to happen, that argument that had to happen, right? All of that had to happen in order for them to create that peace. And then they are able to reflect on themselves, like, how am I contributing to this conflict right now? What is going on with my brain that is not helping the situation? So they took it upon themselves to really reflect on themselves, and they had such a wonderful epiphany that when they finally had that meeting again and they came together, they're like, oh my gosh, that was the quickest meeting we've ever had, under an hour. And everyone was on the same page. Like, you had to go through that storm. You had to figure out a way to harness and empowering each other.
You know, and I think for most of us, we are so used to the blaming and complaining, right? You know, anything happens, it's your fault, it's her fault, it's everybody's fault except your own fault. And I think more of us, we really need to reflect more how maybe some of those things is caused by you, maybe indirectly, maybe not directly, but that is a great advice to step back, reflect how did you get yourself into that situation, and maybe if you caused it, and if you didn't, you know, how can you help them get out of it? I love that answer. Thank you so much. All right, Don, are you ready for your second question?
Sure.
So just like daily sunshine, you know, everything you get recharged by the sun. I'm always saying we're energy beings and we're recharged by the sun. So we have, you know, essential habits for growth and longevity. So rain, this is a topic, April showers. Rain is essential for growth, but we also need some sunshine, right? And I always tell people that small, consistent habits have the biggest impact on longevity. So if you had to pick 3 habits that help people grow stronger physically, mentally, or emotionally, what would they be?
Number one is self care. That's the one thing we all neglect. And self care has to be an intention, right? You have to plan it out on when you're going to be caring for yourself. And that's one habit everyone neglects. Um, I was watching a webinar earlier this morning, and one of the speakers mentioned about how she incorporates the last week of her month. She continues to do her work and whatever she
Mhm.
needs to do, but she calls it an integration week. And she doesn't take any networking meetings, any one-to-ones. She just focuses on her work. And that's what we have to do. We have to
Mhm.
utilize our time and our calendar and really plan it out intentionally, like, Monday to Friday, yeah, I have a 9 to 5, so that's what my time is going to be. And really take an assessment of where your time is being spent so that you can properly plan for that.
Mhm.
And I know we talk about, there's many people that talk about time schedules and boundaries, but it's all about just being intentional where you want your energy. So you asked Vince about recharging and realigning your
Mhm.
energy. You have to incorporate that into your schedule as well. Everything has to be intentional. So, yeah, setting up your intentions of where your time is being spent, doing the self care. And the other habit, again, I cannot express this enough, is being curious and constantly
Mhm.
learning new things, and getting out of your comfort zone and trying stuff that you would never think to do. And it could be something really, really simple, Um, like at one time, my partner and I just said, hey, you know what? Things are kind of getting a little blah. Why don't we just set a goal that just one day of every month we try a new restaurant, right? And that in itself is just such a simple shift that you can do for yourself, that just opens up so many doors for you and open up your
Mhm.
awareness of what you're missing out on. Because otherwise, otherwise you just go about doing the same things over and over, and then you realize, like, oh my gosh, the whole year went by and I really haven't grown as an individual, and I'm wondering why I'm so bored and stuck in my life. So those three things, I think, for me would be the top priorities and habits to just really embrace in your lives, whether it's personal or for professional development.
I love that because we talk about self-care, and we actually had that topic in our magazine, in March. And it was funny. Yesterday, I took a day off for self-care, and like I almost finished reading a whole book in a day. I was sitting in my massage chair, and Minna says, "Don't you got any work to do today?" Because she never just sees me sitting there. And I was like, "I'm taking a me day off," and it almost felt like I was cheating and doing nothing. But I swear, I was like so recharged after yesterday. Today, I'm hit running. Like everything was so easy for me
Mhm.
today. Today was a busy day,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. Like you said, taking that self care, scheduling it to be, just to say, this is something I'm going to do. I'm going to learn something new, and it just changes everything. But thank you for that. We're going to take a short break, and then I'm going to hand the reins over to Vince, and she's going to throw us under the bus. Imagine a life where every day is fueled by energy, vitality, and purpose. Where age is just a number and your best years are always ahead. Hi, I'm Andy Nam, certified functional nutrition longevity coach, best-selling author, and international speaker. After reversing my own chronic health struggles, I'm now on a mission to help you live longer, stronger, and of course to look younger. I combine biohacking, cutting-edge nutrition, and stem cell technology to unlock your body's full potential. So no matter where your starting point is, I'm going to guide you toward a chronically healthy life. Ready to reverse aging and take control of your future? Connect with me today. Your journey to longevity starts here.
Ever feel like you're doing it all, but doing it alone? Running your business, supporting your family, trying to stay grounded while juggling everything. You're not the only one. You deserve a space where you can just exhale. A room where you don't have to prove anything. Because everyone already gets it. Where conversations go beyond small talk. Where stories are shared, not judged. Where new connections feel like old friends. This is that space. This is that room. This is that moment. Come refill your cup. Be seen. Be celebrated. Because when women come together, powerful things happen. Let's grow, rise, and lead together. Join us on May 17th, Women of the World Hawaii pop-up event in Honolulu. Hope to see you.
All right, Vince, you got control of the boat.
Okay, who goes first?
You get to choose. You get to choose.
Okay, all right. Oh, I get to put Andy in the hot seat.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Ooh, okay, Andy, since we're talking about April showers, I don't know if that
Yes.
has happened in Hawaii though, Don. I don't know.
Not yet.
Anyway,
Not yet.
so Andy, let's start with the obvious. How do you help people dance in the rain instead of sending emails in it?
Ooh, how do I get people to dance in the rain instead of sending emails in it? Wow, that stumps me. Oh my gosh. Like, really put me under the bus. I think for me, it comes down to, for me, I help people remember what it was like when they're children. When we're kids, how we just enjoy getting in trouble. We dance to our own, music, even when there's no music going on. And sometimes, this is stealing a little bit what Don says, right? As kids, we're so curious. We want to know so many things. We're always breaking things, not knowing what it is, or trying new things, right? But as we get older, we get told, you can't do this, you can't do that, this is wrong, right? And we get so trained that we're afraid to do things again, right? And but by that, now we're afraid to try new exercises or a new diet because you heard that this is bad for you, or listen to your coach, right? I know everything, and things like that, So I would say embrace your inner child. Like me and Minna is like, we call ourselves the foolish couple. It's like, people think we're crazy, we're foolish, but for us, it's like, the younger you act, the younger you are, right? So some people they like acting old. I'm so old and so wise. Well, to me, it's like now you just pretending to be something you're not, right? So for me, I think, when it's raining outside, I love the rain. Unless it's a storm of lightning, then it would not let me go outside. But I love April showers. I have no problem running in it because it just brings back memories when we're younger. So definitely, don't stand watching some rom-com in the rain. Go there, experience it, smell the air. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, I love it because looking back in your childhood, what did you do? You embraced whatever was, right? And that you described it so well. And thinking back to what was things that you didn't break or what
Mhm.
didn't feel like it was a mistake, right? Whatever mistake it was, you embraced it.
Yes.
I love that. Andy,
Thank
and
you.
you and Mina are just a great example of people that are living in the moment and really dancing in the rain. So thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Andy. Don, let's go on the
Uh-oh.
theme of April showers.
Uh-huh.
So, have you ever met a corporate equivalent of an April downpour? And how did you help people avoid slipping in it?
Quit. He quit. Nah.
You heard
Oh
it
my
here,
God.
folks. Don wants you to quit.
Not quit, but dismiss yourself from that and that person. No, I mean, yeah, you have to assess how well, number one, we do encounter people like that, right? That just totally is just a really bad vibe of your existence. And sometimes, we feel like we don't have any option and we just have to endure it and we put up with it. But I think the first question we have to ask ourselves is that person really a downpour on our
Mm,
existence, right? Because it could just be a limiting belief or something of a past that triggered, some kind of past event that triggered an event that reminds us of someone else. So I think that's the first thing, is really to recognize, is it really true what you're feeling about that individual, or is it a remnants of a past event? And then the other thing would have to be is like, okay, yeah, maybe it is. So what can I do to change my perspective on that, on what I'm experiencing every day? Because most times, like in the corporate environment, when they're dealing with that, they immediately want to run the other way, or they
mm,
immediately make it so much bigger than it is, and then they think the only option they have is to quit and run away, but it's not. And I've seen many people make impulsive decisions based on that, but not really taking the time to reflect on what's going on there, and then they walk away from something that they actually did enjoy. So and then, if there is something that they're able to, change the perspective, it's like, what can I do now to change the environment and the dynamic of the relationship with that individual so that it
mm,
becomes positive, right? Because the more you're energetically positive, you can shift the energy of the people that's around you, right? So they always say, what you manifest is not what you want, is what you need. So sometimes even going through having those experiences, because there's a lesson that we need to learn as well. um but we can really change, and it's about being a good role model of how we want to change the environment around us. And and then at the end of the day, there is really just those people that we do need to walk away from, and it's totally fine. And you can do it with your own dignity and leave that person with their own dignity too. It doesn't have to be a battle all the time. And I think that's the one thing I really want to focus on my next book about leadership training, is about
mm.
transparent communication. We just have these fear-based beliefs in ourselves that we are so afraid to have these conversations because of whatever it is. And it's not even so bad. Like my situation with the lizard yesterday, I ended up getting back in the car knowing it was still in the car, and I drove.
So you had to break through that belief.
I know. So, but yeah. So the bottom line is we are in control of how we perceive things, and we have the control on how we can shift our perspective and make it much better for ourselves, whether we stay or not.
Mm. This is so insightful, Dawn, and I love how you did it step by step, right? Think making sure that you're checking in with you, that person, and then you're checking in with yourself, and then you have that option, right? If it's
Yeah.
not a good fit, it's not a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very good. And then maybe she'll expand on the whole lizard thing and then why her voice is sexy. But let's move on to Andy. So, Andy, if April showers brings Mayflowers, what are the wellness weeds that we encounter with people? And how do we pull those weeds before flowers can grow?
Whoa. Okay. I love that analogy. Because we talked a little bit, and I'm going to steal what you taught in the first section, because like I said, I'm always learning, I'm always curious. It really, the wellness weeds, and they're actually sickness weeds, right? Not really wellness weeds, because you need to pull the weeds, you need to weed the people out. And it's interesting what you said is, like, we always say the people that you are spend the most time around with, doesn't matter if it is, like coaching here, you guys are all lifts us up, right? Is that's what your life's going to revolve around, right? So if you want to be healthier, you don't want to be people that's hanging out drinking and partying all the time. We did that in our teens, some of us more than others, but so you have to be more aware of what people bring out in you. Like, it's funny because, like, me and Minna, we always talk about, we have so many, we're turning 55 this year, we're officially becoming seniors, and we look back at the friends that we have, right? And it's interesting because there are friends that I can spend the whole day chatting all day long, and then I had my weed friends that I cannot stand them more than 10 minutes, even though they're lifelong friends, right? Because you don't share the same values anymore. They might have been the same when we were kids, right? And it's all right, they're still my friend. It's just that, since we don't share the same values, we need to be aware of how they bring your energy down. More importantly, shrink my brain now, so I'm going to be very aware of that, right? So, you looking at life, what sort of like what Dawn is saying is, like, what are you manifesting? What do you want in life? You have to spend more time with those people that's going to uplift you rather than bring you down. So that's what I would say. Find these weeds of your friends, and you're not throwing them away. It's just sort of like you're just sort of moving them, putting them in a box a little further away. And maybe you see them once every 10 years. It's all right, but just not every day.
We're composting them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking too. We're gonna make them mulch.
I love that because, when I went through the brain health training with Dr. Amen, Andy, he said, find the most healthiest person that you can stand and follow them and ask them to mentor you, because that will make you elevate yourself. But I'm so glad that you're weeding, right? And I love to talk about that we're farmers, right? Because we need to be the ones that are planting the growth and really, like, cultivating our own growth and other people around us. But I think you're so amazing that you're keeping those friends, and maybe those friends are questioning themselves. Like, does he think I'm the weed or does he think I'm the flower?
I can tell you, it's like, I'm sure they have their own secret group of conversation about me, Minna, in it. We always joke they're talking behind our back, but it's okay. It's okay.
Hopefully all good, right? You want people to talk behind your back, but all good. All right. Thank you for sharing, Andy. Dawn, still staying on the theme. So, do you think every company has a rainy season? And if so, what's your umbrella strategy as a holistic practitioner?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, that they do have a rainy season and they know when it's coming. And they still don't prepare themselves for it. Yeah, I see that all the time. I'll use the analogy of annual licensure and certifications. I had an organization that I was working with, and every year I was with them for almost 12 years. Every year we had the same conversation, right? It's like all these people that need to renew their license and certifications. Is the question was, well, who was maintaining that list? Right? And who's supposed to communicate with these people that, to make sure that they turn in their credentials? And like, really late. So like clockwork, every November, like clockwork, we were having the same conversation again. And then here comes the team that fixes everything. They fix it, and then okay, here's the new procedures. And then next November, same thing. Oh, what? Who was doing? Who was supposed to be maintaining that list?
You.
Yeah, what? We're having the same conversation. This has been 8 years already with the same people. So yes, they do. Rainy season, they know when it's happening. I mean, it's just like clockwork. And yet they just still, and it's again, it's about just getting into robot mode, right?
Mm.
We don't get proactive. We're just constantly just doing what we come in. Okay, all right, in January we do this, this Tuesday we do this day we have this meeting, and it's just on robot mode, and they're not really just taking a step back and go, why do we even keep having this conversation every year with the same people, right? And then again, it's like in the environment, you don't invest in yourself and invest in what's happening in the operation. And that's why employees get so frustrated in the organization, because they see that happening and they're just rolling their eyes like, what in the world? You guys are getting paid so much more money and you guys can't figure this out. Like, it's so silly. But yeah, absolutely, all the time. And all I can say is take the time out to reassess your processes, it like SOPs, standard operating procedures, job descriptions. I've been in organizations where I'm like, really, you're still hiring for this position and the job description hasn't been updated for like 20 years. Is that like still true? And you're still recruiting for this and you're wondering why you have a high turnover, because this person comes in and they're not even doing what you listed on this job description, so yeah, it's just the awareness, and we have to just stop living in robot mode and just taking the time out to reassess of what's really going on, what works, what doesn't work, and being open to change. We hate change, right? Everybody hates change. But that's like the best thing ever, because that gives you excitement. So yeah, Javens. It's always boring.
It's like a perpetual Groundhog Day.
It is. It is. And when it comes to things that they're like, oh, we didn't know that this was gonna happen. Oh, they knew. They knew. They just decided to ignore it.
They knew, right? And their self-awareness is not there, and
Yeah.
maybe it's something that they don't recognize, but
It's just
maybe get in front
avoidance,
of the face.
right? Yeah, because they're thinking the worst thing. But again, it's about transparency. Just be honest with people. They're adults. Stop
Mhm.
treating them like they're children. A lot of times we hold back on things because of that one individual that does throw a tantrum every now and then, right? Instead of treating everyone else like an adult, we accommodate the squeaky wheel, and we got to stop doing that.
And that's when I worry about their brain. So,
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
do I have time for one more question, Andy, or is it
No, we don't.
no? Okay. Okay.
Great. Like I said, you guys are uplifting me. I'm learning so much, and I'm worried what Don's gonna say in the next segment. But we'll be right back after this short message.
Are you struggling to communicate effectively or lead with clarity? At Bambushu Coaching, Vince, a certified peace specialist and brain health trainer, offers solutions tailored to your needs. Whether it's developing better leadership skills, improving communication, or fostering peace in stressful environments, Vince has the tools to help you thrive. Through personalized coaching and training, Vince helps you tap into your strengths, reduce stress, and communicate with confidence. The result: stronger leadership, clearer communication, and more peaceful, productive environments. Ready to lead with clarity and peace? Connect with Vince at Bamboo Shoot Coaching today.
Welcome back to Chronic Health Collective. And in this segment, we got Don driving the car here. So Don, let us have it.
All right. I'm going to start with Vince.
Good.
I hope the lizard doesn't come.
No, it won't. It won't. So April showers, Vince, and a time for, blossoming and change. What personal or professional storms have you weathered recently, and what did it teach you?
I think making the decision for me was taking this big contract, this corporate contract, and not allowed to say what it is actually. So,
Yeah, no worries.
but it was like the decision of being something that's dedicated to one client now instead of so many different clients, and then having those clients still kind of hanging on to me, right? And I'm like making the decision to prune, right? So those April showers are going to give Mayflowers, but those Mayflowers turn into bushes. And some of those bushes turn into crazy trees, and like they grow and grow and grow. And like you need to prune, just like in the Bible, right? Pruning the vineyard, then it will produce more fruit. And you want to be more fruitful. And the whole thing is like you need to cut off those things that are not producing that. And like Don said, quit, right? If that person is not serving you or serving the company, or you're feeling like it's not working well, you have that option. And so that's my growth, is like, okay, I'm realizing like I don't have to be there for them. They're okay without me.
Mm-hmm.
And if they fall, that's okay, because they need to learn to grow. So same thing with clients. Like I can't hold their hand anymore, so they need to grow. Like I'm going to recommend some other coaches to them, but I need to grow too and see where the next level for my coaching and training is. So yeah, that was a big one for me. Ooh,
It's like an actual breakup, wasn't it? Huh?
to send the Dear John letters to
Right.
all my clients. Like, I kind of didn't like you, so.
No, but that's good that you brought that up, and then that's a great advice for coaches too, Vince, is that we forget, right? We're advising and teaching them something, but at the end of the day, it really should be for them to stand on their own. And that's the true test of what we've been, teaching them. So good job. I'm happy for you and really excited for your new adventure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Don.
So Andy, what have you planted in the past that is just now starting to blossom?
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. So my health journey started 11 years ago. And when I first healed myself, I was excited. I really wanted to share to the world everything that I learned. And it's interesting, it's like for the last 6 years that I started from 12 years ago, do the math, I struggled, right? Because like I was trying to help everyone, because my message was so broad that I was trying to help everyone, but the message is being mixed. So, the latest seeds that's changed everything for us is like me and Minna, we decided to leave California in the middle of COVID and come to Houston. And coming to Houston, it was a new start, meeting new people. I was able to reinvent myself. And now, with COVID and everything going on, I was able to niche down, right? So, like the people that actually do want to be helped, the people that are searching for answers. So, since we've been here, it's funny because you talk about planting seeds. When we started our first show, Chronically Healthy Life, where I met you all, that is our seeds. We wanted to start planning out there to meet more people that share the same mindset, that share the same goal and helping others, right? In which case it gets me in front of people now that want to get help too. So the seeds that we planted in these last 4 years is like this year has been showing so much opportunities. I'm hiring more coaches to get better. That's another seed to plant because like you said, you always need to be improving. And as coaches, people need to realize we have coaches too, right? So yeah, this it's the lesson I learned, you always need to be planting, and sometimes some seeds grow to be weeds and you just have to yank them out. We left California. We thought California we're going to be living there forever. And we had to pluck that weed and start fresh. And when we planted the new seed in Texas, oh my gosh, it's like it's a tree that is a small oak that just blossoming into this big tree. And I'm just excited for the journey to see where it's going to go and how many people that we're going to be able to help.
Yeah, you folks have been on a mission, and I think you've just done a tremendous job, not just with what you folks been doing, but what you've been doing for the community and all the people that you've been able to connect with, like myself and Vince. So we have to thank you many, many times for just giving us this opportunity, to just give us the courage and the platform for people to hear our voices. Because if I had to do this myself, I probably would have never done a podcast. But being a guest, that's a small step that I could have taken for myself to put myself out there. And I'm like, oh, I'm not too bad at this. So now I'm open and I'm allowing myself to do more. So thank you again to you and Nina for this opportunity.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm watching you all blossom and grow, and it's a movement that we're all growing together. We're all these beautiful flowers in a field, and it's just very exciting. I see so many exciting things happen for us as a group.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's more to come, people. Stay tuned. Hit and like, no, just kidding. All right, Vince, you ready for your next one?
No. That was good, Andy.
Yeah,
I love that you're
very
planting an
good.
acorn into a tree.
um, so you're a great community builder, Vince. I must say, So, what role does community play in helping us or others weather through difficult seasons and getting through these April showers?
Mm. Oh, I love that question, Dawn, because when you create a community, whether it's for your selfish reason, right? I know like Andy and Mina created this community of coaches, or whether it's to help others, I think that just is symbiotic almost. And it's such an organic feeling when you know that you have this purpose of others being, you're surrounding yourself with others that need help. But then it's being matched with the people that are around you that are also helping you. And I want to liken it to volunteering. So I used to be a volunteer coordinator, and it's very hard to herd volunteers because they're like cats, right?
Yeah.
But with volunteering, you're creating this community that was all part of a mission, and they really want to help out that mission, the people, the environment, whatever it is, and that heals you, right? There's so many statistics. If you're not volunteering already, go and volunteer, because that heals your brain, it heals your life, your socialization increases. It also helps with expanding your resume, right? All of that is just community, and not just feeling like, oh, I'm giving up my time, right? You're actually contributing back to yourself. You're getting back so much more, I have to say. So, yeah, community, I love community building, as you know. I'm a prolific community builder, but
Mhm.
it's been an amazing ride. I would rather go find a community wherever I go in this world and see how I can fit into them. How can I help them, but how can they help me?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, that's so true. And when you're in it and you're doing the activities to know that you're supporting someone, your heart feels so much love in a way that you just don't even realize. And it's that heart coherence that helps us, like, just builds our strengths and our confidence and just want to do more and helps us keep going. So, Andy, last question for you. I think we still have a little bit of time. What would it look like to fully trust the process of your own blooming, even if you don't see the results right away?
Okay, that one I need to think about. Uh, because I'm trying to think, are we blooming with personal development or blooming because we're eating too well? Um, you know, I think what people need to understand when it comes to health, it's not like medication. Like so many people are um they're so used to medication because medication reacts fast, right? You got a headache, take Tylenol, pain is gone, right? But when it comes to health is a little bit more organic. It doesn't happen quickly. Like if you exercise, you do 10 push-ups, you're not gonna have six-pack abs, right? You're not gonna have a big chest. You're not gonna look like Thor, right? So it's a process. So you are constantly blooming, but when it comes to health, it's you have to realize it's a process. You need to stick with the process because I find when it comes to any type of coaching, whichever way we're helping with people, most people they give up before they see the result. There's this analogy that I read, and I think it was Aaron that taught me. Like you're almost like in a mine, in a gold mine, right? And you're pickaxing away, right? And you're literally 1 mile in, and the next axe, like the next click, you're gonna strike gold, and then it's like that's too hard. I'm done. I didn't see nothing, right? And I think when it comes to a lot of people blossoming, that's how we feel. Like everyone is so used to quick results with, you got Uber Eats, you got Uber, you got this, you got that. You order, you get it. Amazon Prime, 2 day, 1 day, same day delivery. And what people need to realize when it comes to health, that's not how it works, right? It may have taken, depending on how old you are, but it may have taken years, decades to put you where you are right now. It's not going to be days or weeks to return your health or to lose that 10, 15 pounds or whatever you need, to heal that knee, to heal that back that you hurt, right? It's a process. And you need to take time for yourself, get that self-love, cheer yourself on. I think it's important to cheer yourself on that you can do this, because I think people have too much self-doubt that is not working. And we all know how the mind works. If you believe it can or you believe it can't, it's the same, right? So where you believe is where the healing is going to begin. So it doesn't matter if you're changing your diet, you're changing your exercises, you're doing regenerative practices like we use for the stem cell activation patch. You have to believe it's going to work, and then you need to wait for the wait for the results, right? So when it comes to blossoming, I tell people you need to be patient, you need to be diligent, and it's going to happen, but you need to believe it.
Hmm. Yeah, your mindset is everything, right? And it goes back to what we started off in the beginning about your brain and understanding how it works, what's all that, and the limiting beliefs and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. And you're right. I mean, I believe, right? That I always believed, hey, I'll take a Tylenol and I'm good in half an hour.
Exactly, right?
So yeah, your mindset and understanding how your brain works can really do wonders for us, and we can actually achieve results quicker if we continue to work on learning how our brain works, and of the awareness and how we can quickly shift and how we can change the visualizations that we have in our mind. So thank you for that, Andy. That's really great because it is right. What we're doing is we're stepping out there, not knowing what's going to happen, and we're just trusting that this process is going to work. And sometimes we don't know how it's going to work out. It may not work out the way that we've envisioned it, but something great and is going to come to fruition for us somewhere or another. So again, thank you. And thank you, Vince. Great answers, guys. So are we going to do more questions or?
Yeah, we can do one more quick question for each one of us.
Okay.
Or maybe give Vince two quick questions. I'm okay with that too.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Are you sure, Andy?
Just throw it on her.
We're gonna make
curious.
Andy.
We're learning. I want people to learn, right? We got 2 minutes. Let's do this.
Go for it.
Okay. Who do you want to ask questions? Oh, me?
Don's gonna ask the question.
Oh, Don's gonna ask.
Me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Vince, what are you hopeful for this spring?
Beautiful.
Gosh, so many things. Oh, Don and I are speaking at the Women of the World networking event in Hawaii on May 17th. So everyone is invited. I just sent Minna and Andy the link, and we're going to start to do an ad. We're going to do our first paid ad to Andy at Chronic Health Collective. And then also, I will be speaking in Utah for nonprofits that are Move United, and it's a feeder system into the Paralympics. So I don't think your audience knows because I'm only at like shoulder level, but I have one leg, and Move United is a feeder system to Paralympics, and I go surfing with Access Surf, and I was invited to speak to nonprofits about transparent communication in organizations so that they're able to have better processes and systems, but everyone is aware about, even if the organization is in trouble, the people need to know so they can prepare themselves and not be blindsided, right? But those are the two things I'm looking forward to, 2 speaking opportunities. And I invite you all to both of those, or, whatever you can do to join us.
It's amazing. We would definitely be there. See, I love the collaboration. I love seeing you women getting out there and changing the world. But we're going to be right back with closing thoughts after this last message.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. Say goodbye to dullness and hello to youthful radiance. And guess what? For a limited time, you get a free cooling eye cream applicator with your purchase. It's time to unlock your inner glow with coolness. So what are you waiting for? Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
Welcome back to Chronic Health Collective. This was so fun tonight with you ladies. There was so much golden nuggets. Just one final thought for each of you before I close the show. What is one quick tip you can share for all our viewers for April showers?
Dawn, you first.
I was like, no, not me. One quick tip. Explore your inner child and be curious again. And you know what'll take you there quickly is go find a trampoline and go jump up and down and see how quickly it brings you back to being a child. Seriously, I love being on the trampoline. When I'm on it, you can't get me off anymore. But yeah, live life to the fullest, guys, and explore your inner child and just be curious about life and just not be afraid. Not be afraid about a change. It's gonna happen anyway.
I love it.
Love
And a
it.
quick closing thought for you, Vince.
I ask everyone to grow their own food because I have a tower garden and it's like printing money. You know how many lettuce that I've gotten? Like, I think we save like over $400 a month.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
I
Grow
love
your
it.
own food, everyone.
I love it.
Take
That's something
advantage
that
of those
Nina
April showers.
does. You know, we may need you to FedEx some of your lettuce over to us. So exciting. Well, next week we're introducing an exciting format change with Christy Boyd Johnson taking the helm as our host and our special guest as Candice McKim joining the conversation. So it won't be me, Minna, being the host anymore. We're getting the rest of our coaches revolving to be the host. So be sure to sign up for our Chronic Health Collective monthly magazine at chronichealthcollective.com, where all 13 of our expert coaches share invaluable tips to elevate your life in every way. And if today's discussion resonated with you, remember, you don't have to navigate your journey alone. You can book a complimentary consultation with any of our coaches on our website, chronichealthcollective.com, to get your personalized support that you need. Join us here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST for more transformative insights to help you up-level every aspect of your health and life. And if you missed an episode, don't worry, you can catch up anytime at watche360tv.com on the Vitality TV network, or of course on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/at Chronic Health Collective. Until next time, thank you, ladies, for such a fun and entertaining night. Stay healthy, stay inspired, and always live a chronically healthy life. Goodbye now.